Hello and welcome to Comet's Microsoft 365 Backup webinar. Thanks for joining us. This booster add-on has been in high demand from our community of users for a long time, and we're really excited to be premiering this functionality. A huge round of applause to our development team for their months of hard work on this feature. My name is Natalie. I'm in charge of marketing for Comet. In chat, we have Mason, our CTO, Sethya, our product manager, and Russell from our support team, here to answer any questions you might have after the presentation. We'll be hanging out in chat for a little while afterwards to make sure that all of your questions get answered. I'm going to turn things over to Josh, our general manager, to give you a features overview and a demo of the booster.
Hi Natalie, thanks for that. It's fantastic to see so many people here joining us for this Office 365 launch. I'm really excited today to be showing you guys through it. So this functionality is now available in our latest Voyager branch, and so this will be sitting here for the next 3 months, and then be looking to come out in our next long-term release as part of that. So what I'm going to do today, and the bit of the plan, is to run through some slides overviewing some of the technology, the functionality of our Office 365 booster. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump over to my desktop and I'm going to show you a live demonstration of how to configure it and some of the backup functionality that's in it. So let's get started. So for those of you that have used Comet before and new to Comet, there's sort of 4 key pieces of technology that we utilize in Comet that provides us a bit of an edge and provides us a really nice way of ensuring really fast and efficient backups. And Office 365 is able to leverage all of these pieces of functionality. I'll quickly run through them. So the first is client-side deduplication. What I mean by that is all the data before it is uploaded is deduplicated client-side, so this allows it to be fast and efficient. The next 2 are quite heavily related to each other. The next is incremental forever. So after the first backup runs, it's only ever going to be incremental after that. And no full re-uploads, it's exactly what it says. The first time that you run a backup is the only time that you'll have to do the full upload of that file. Everything after that is just going to be the incremental changes. And lastly is compression and encryption. It's certainly becoming a standard these days that everything always stays encrypted. And so we approach that with Comet, that your backups are always encrypted during backup, during transit, and at rest. And the only time the data is decrypted is when the restore process is actually running itself. Also with that, during the encryption process is when we compress the data as well. So this allows it to be fast and efficient. And all of these allow us to have a point of difference with Comet when we're approaching backups. So what can you back up with the Office 365 booster? So this is the Office 365 suite that you're able to back up. We've got obviously Outlook and Calendar and Outlook contacts associated with the mail items in Outlook. We've got OneDrive for Business, SharePoint, and Teams files and attachments. So all of these you're going to be able to back up in Office 365. If you're backing them up, the next question is obviously where can you store this data? So with Comet, one of the differences that we have compared to, you'll see a number of other solutions on the market, is that you're able to back up to your own storage. So whatever storage destination that you have configured in Comet, you can back up to that. So whether it's S3, it's storage that you're providing, or you're using one of the other popular solutions such as Azure, Wasabi, or Backblaze, you're able to back up those and you're able to keep control of your data. This is really nice, obviously, if you're dealing with customers that have sensitivity around requirements around data sovereignty, or who has control over your data. You're able to give them that assurity that where it's being stored is completely under your control. So let's move on to the features in the Office 365 booster. So we've got sort of 3 core areas, and that's the backup features, the restore features, and management features. From backup, as I mentioned, you can do mailboxes, attachments, calendars and contacts, OneDrive, SharePoint, Teams files and attachments. And you're able to leverage our incremental backups, the secure encryption, compression, and we make it really easy to select as I'm going to demonstrate shortly, what you want to back up, whether you're looking to fast, in a really quick way, back up an entire organization, or if you're just wanting to go at a more granular level and select individual accounts, we give you the flexibility to do that. When you're restoring, we've got a number of different options again, whether you're looking to restore entire folders, or if you're looking to just restore 1 or 2 emails, or individual files that you've had to search based on a customer demand, you're able to do that, and we give you the tools to provide that. With the management features that I'll be walking you through shortly, we allow for a really easy way to get Comet up and running with the Office 365 environment that you're going to be protecting. And this allows for really quick and easy configuration that you can also configure from the server side as well. So you can do it both in the client and also on the server side. We've also got the nice things like backup and restore job logs. You've got one central place that you can monitor and look through these. And as I mentioned, that ability to be able to remotely configure from the server itself. So that's just a really quick run through of the features here. There's a ton more, and what I really encourage you to do is to try out the Office 365 Booster and see what you think about it. As always with Comet, you're able to leverage the 14-day free user trial. So if you create a new user, create a new device, that user and device will have 14 days free. If you remove it before day 15, there is no charge for that. So this is a great way that you can go ahead and start spinning up trials of Office 365. So next is the pricing. So the pricing to be able to back up all of these Office 365 environments is $1.50 per user. And that will allow you to back up all of these items for that one charge. On the right here, we've got an example of how this works for you. So it starts with a device backup, and this will be the device that you're configuring the Office 365 backup on. From that device, you can back up the staff members or the users from the Office 365 environment that you're going to protect. And this example on the right here, it's one device, and then there's 3 users in this organization we're going to back up. The total cost is $6.50 per month. So we've made this be quite flexible in terms of how you want to deploy this and who you're looking to protect. We have also updated the pricing calculator on the main Comet website there, that you can go in there and model out your pricing and see where it goes. So now I'm going to share my desktop, and I'm going to walk you through setting up Office 365 backups, and then the backup operation itself, how you can browse and preview items, and then also we'll run through a restore scenario. So let me just share my screen here. Okay, so we've got our standard backup client here, and what we're going to do is we're going to add a new Office 365 environment. So we can start from seeing here that we've got a new protected item type, Microsoft Office 365. Let's give our backup a new name, so new 365 backup. And next we've got the authentication screen, which I'll come to shortly. But to get started with our quick wizard is by pressing the plus button. What this allows you to do is it walks you through the wizard for setting up with authenticating the environment and the Comet agent with the Azure environment. So let's start by putting in an email address. And on this step here is where we register the application with Azure. So if we just click this link here, what this is going to do is it's going to take us to this Azure page here. And then what we will do is we will take the code, we'll paste the code in, select our environment, and now it's just waiting for the registration process to complete. Okay, we can see now that it's successfully registered the application credentials. So this is registered the Comet environment with Azure. We can see here it's now filled out the application ID, the tenant, application secret, and what region. You do have the ability to do this manually, and we'll provide documentation for that in, the documentation on the website of how you can do this manually if you're not able to utilize the wizard to get started. So we can see the authentication passed, and now we can hit the next. Now from here, it's just like configuring any other type of backup. What we can see here is what we can back up. So we can see the Exchange environment, and we can see the SharePoint and OneDrive site, which also includes that team's data. We can see the total amount of mailboxes and sites. Now this indicates how many we can see on that, that organization environment. So in this case here, there is 21 potential mailboxes that we can be backing up. So let's select some from backup. So using the selection on the right here, we go to configure mailboxes, then select mailboxes. Then we use the plus to add. And what this is going to do is it's going to poll Azure to get the details of the users. And we can see here now we've got our user list. So simply just clicking and dragging down, we can select multiple users. We can just deselect them. We can have individual users. It's entirely up to you about how much and who you're actually selecting. We've got quick filters if you're wanting to filter by the user account, or if you're wanting to quickly look for the group accounts to protect. And we also have the ability to search for, just search by name for any sort of organization there. So we can select some for a backup. Okay. And we can see what we've done here as from this, we can see that we're only protecting 7 of the accounts out of the possible 21 available in this environment. So this is a good way of always ensuring that you can go to this to see if there's accounts that you're missing and there's more to be added to back up. This is the same procedure with sites for SharePoint, OneDrive, and Teams. Once again, you just configure sites. You come to select all sites. You hit the plus. Again, this is going to poll to get the information about what sites are available for this environment. And again, we can see the sites available here. We can filter them if they're personal, so they're team sites. We've also got the icon to indicate what type they are, and we can select some for backup. So now we see that we've made our selections here. We can continue on. And this is now just like any other backup with Comet, whether or not you do pre or post commands, whether you've got any schedules. So for example, with mail, you might like to set a schedule where you're doing it, say, every day of the week, potentially more. Give the flexibility that you can do that to customize the schedule for when you want these backups to run. If you've got any custom retention policies, and then you can go ahead and run the backup. So that's one way of setting up. The other is through the server itself. So let me just jump over to the server and let me run through it. So if we go to our accounts and we find the account that we're using and we go to protected items, we can see that we've got an Office 365 environment here. And so we can see that it's selected here. We've got authentication again, like what we saw from the device. Again, we can go through and re-register if need be. And then we've got the items, so we can see what we're actually backing up and protecting. Again, we can browse through the environment to select or deselect who's going to be part of that backup. And the same again for SharePoints. We can go through and browse and select, deselect, filter for what's needed. So that's quite nice because that gives you the flexibility to do it on the device and also the server itself. So let's have a look at a backup that's already run. So we can see here that I did a backup earlier for the 365 environment. Again, we've got our logs, so we can see exactly what backed up and when. And now we can also view files with our nice new 2-pane view. We can go through and we can see which accounts we backed up. And in this case, I've got on my local machine here a Comet backup environment. So we can actually come in here and we can see the inbox of what we actually backed up. If you want to select a mail message, just right click on it and, oh, I believe my backup was just about to start running then. Let me just run through the job log. So we can see it here. We can click on an item, we can right click and we can preview it. And what this here is going to do is it's going to actually preview the item in line for us. So this is a great way if you're wanting to verify the contents of an email, or for example, you're speaking to a customer and they're asking you to find an email for them. You're able to preview that through the device itself. So next, let's actually run through a restore scenario of how it might happen. So let's just jump over to this. And so I've got a mail account here, and we can see that I've got some emails in the inbox here. This email here, let's delete it. And then let's also delete it from the recycle bin as well. And now let's run a restore. So from the restore, you select obviously what storage vault you're restoring from. We select what backup we're going to restore from. And now we can navigate through to find the user that we want to back up. I'll just jump this back over here to the desktop, back to the inbox. And we're looking for mails and inbox. And let's just restore that one email. So this is an email from last week that, say, for example, customer said that they've lost. You can see it here in the backup snapshot. You can hit next. You've got the option to restore it as files and folders, and you could restore this directly to the desktop, or you can restore it directly back to the Office 365 inbox, is what I'll demonstrate. You've also got the ability here to set a custom location that you would like to restore the mail item to. A scenario for that might be that you've had, an organization has had a user leave, and you want to forward all of that departed employees' emails to the person that's taken over that role. You could use this to restore those emails to somebody else's email box if necessary. In this case, what we're going to do is just restore back to our existing mail account here. So we've selected that, and then we hit restore. And we can see here the mail item has reappeared, almost like magic, just in our mailbox here. So that's really it with the demonstration for Office 365. It's quite simplistic and straightforward. So it makes it really easy for you to choose what you want to back up, where you want to back it up to, and then where you want to restore it to. You've got options across all of those in the same sort of workflow that you do with Comet for any other backup type. So that about concludes just this quick run through here. As I mentioned, this is in Voyager, and we're continuing to work on this further. We've got more that we're looking to add to it. So I'd really enjoy hearing more from you guys about your use cases and how we can get this to fit more of scenarios that you find useful. What we're going to do now is we're going to remain for some time in the chat for the next sort of 10 to 15 minutes, answering any questions that you have. And then we'll look to conclude from there. So thanks very much for joining me, and we'll look forward to catching you through over in the questions now.